Nice to meet you. I'm Brad. Where are you calling from?
South Carolina.
New York.
I'm calling from Surrey, BC.
Minnesota.
Near Sydney, Australia.
I'm from Florida.
Scotland.
Scotland. Damn.
Yeah.
That's sick as hell. Okay, yeah. And wherever you are, welcome to Blond Radio. Hi, I'm Brad. I live on the west coast of Canada. I own Too Many Cameras, and I love music by Jack Johnson. And this is the show where each day I book a call with a different stranger from around the world. On the first episode of Blond Radio, we'll talk to Jenny, a vocal student from Ontario, Katie, who has a passion for ceramics, Kamilla, who has some wisdom about relationships, and Ross, whose drive to make music is something we could all learn from. Trying to figure out who you are can be hard, especially in university. Although not everything went to plan, our first guest, Jenny, discovered how to land on their feet despite the challenges of pursuing music in university. Let's listen in to the end of that conversation. How did you break that barrier of, okay, now I'm me. Now I'm not pretending to be someone else?
Well, okay, in first year I was part of this friend group that they were very fun, but very surface level in terms of what they cared about. And I was dating someone at the time who was going through many worse things than me in music. They had lost their ability to play their instrument. And so they were, it's just super intense. And I felt like I had to be a puzzle piece to this group. Mm-hmm. Once I once school ended and that relationship ended, I was alone for most of the summer. I didn't really reach out to people, and the reason why you are where you are is because of yourself. And even though someone might have helped you, I've had teachers who've helped me get into university, sure. But, you were the one who wanted to do these things, right?
Right.
And you just have to believe in yourself. It's hard because you just have to know yourself. Because I would wake up and be maybe it's today. And sometimes it would be a good day. Sometimes it would be a bad day of singing and judgment. But I was always looking forward to the next day.
Yes.
And I think detaching myself from a group that was very surface level and they only cared about performance and who's going in where, what's going on, leaving that and just sitting down and being what do I want? How do I feel about this? Taking a step back to reflect on what people are saying to you. Because sometimes, music school, sometimes people can be very shady. Really, really shady. And it's so easy to cry after, I've cried so many times, after a master class and singing and stuff. But I don't know. I feel every single time someone says something negative, it's just a reflection of themselves, something that they see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good that you can recognize that and not, take it to heart and just realize. But you were saying, it's about every day sort of making that intention, if it's a good or bad day, but just making an effort.
Yeah, the effort. And sometimes it's just so difficult to get that effort going. It's even if you need to, in first year, I would feel for days just staying in my room and being sad. But then after a while, I would get tired of it and be why am I doing this? I'm here for a reason. Mm-hmm. I have to believe in myself.
And just remember that reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always think about it like this. It's if, let's say I was a friend of Jenny and they were feeling really, really down about themselves and their development in school, I wouldn't give up on them. Mm-hmm. Right? So I have to be that person for myself.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and having this little chat with me.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I feel I talked so much.
No. This is great. You were the first person I interviewed, so thank you for that.
Oh, okay.
So I was just as nervous, but I think we both did excellent. You were so good. Thank you for being so open and honest. So cool. I don't have a definite schedule.
Hey.
Hello. This is Katie, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's your name?
Brad. Nice to meet you.
Okay, cool.
How's your day?
Pretty good. Slept in like usual. Just now haven't really done anything, so it hasn't felt like I've actually gotten up yet, but...
I feel that. You definitely need that first task of the day to feel like it's a real day.
Exactly. And when you don't have a task, it's well, what's the point of my day?
Preach it. Where are you calling from?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. What's your day to day? Who are you?
I'm Katie. I have bright red hair.
Yeah.
I like art and I do ceramics at school. So ever since like Corona, I've been doing online classes and I'm about to be done with almost all of them for this school year. So
Nice.
that's good. It like feels like a giant summer kind of.
Definitely. Tell me about your favorite verse and mine, Romans 12:21.
My Bible verse in my bio? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, yeah. I don't, it's like, do not let. Oh my gosh, don't.
Oh no.
It's no, I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. I don't have it like. Oh my gosh, I used to have a poster of it on my wall, but I took it down.
It's
I
like
took
do
down all my
not
posters. Do not be overcome by evil, but like overcome evil by doing good.
Totally.
You know, like if someone does something bad to you, rather than like trying to fight fire with fire and doing something bad back, you kind of just like keep on doing you, because at the end of the day, half of the time, people who don't like you, they're just like jealous of like the love that you have in your life. You know.
Yeah, it's the kind of like turn the other cheek mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you're just like putting out good in the world, like obviously that's just gonna make good come back to you.
I love that idea so much. And even to the point of like, if you're pushing out good vibes, good waves, good positive energy, it might not even come back and hit you. But like, I think the bigger point is the intention of pushing out. That's the main thing that should be happening.
Right. And it's like every act of hate, like you're really just committing that on yourself. Like you're taking the time to hold these grudges, to have like a chip on your shoulder, and you're just like being so angry all the time. You're like physically hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Damn. It feels like
right.
you've thought a lot about this.
No, not even. Like I watched a few of your TikToks and I was like, oh my God, I have to sound intelligent. Like I can't sound like a dumb bitch to him. Like I swear to God, I have to sound smart. And then like I looked through them and I was like, oh, okay, this girl said oof. Like I'm okay. Like, you know,
No,
they're just like talking normal.
It's all chill. It's all good. What about ceramics versus like a 2D medium? It makes it different.
I think it's just a lot more like fun to actually put your hands on it. Like even when I was little, I always liked crafts more than I did anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's really frustrating if you don't get a picture right. You know, you keep on erasing it. You want to rip up the paper. You want to crumble it. Like it's a little easier to cover up mistakes with ceramics, and it's like really relaxing too. If you like see pottery videos, you like just like see how they're just like sculpting the clay, and like
They're
even if you mess up, yes, exactly. And it's just like a really good like way to just like let your stress out, but you're also creating something. And it's also like I really like making art for other people. I don't really like making it for myself. I'd rather do it for someone else because I feel like they'd appreciate it more. And like that's so cool to be able to like make ceramic pieces for people in your life.
It's kind of like that verse again. It's outflowing of love and positive energy instead of like, you know.
Exactly.
Damn, that's sick as hell.
Thank you. I think your TikToks are so cool. Like I love them. Like they're so good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a really fun project. I just I think similarly like you, I've been making videos for like 4 or 5 years. But I've never been comfortable with like vlogging or like being the center of attention. I don't mind being in a video, but I don't like the video being all about me. It's so weird and it feels so self-important. So like a lot of my content has been like me asking my friends questions about their lives, or just like us together doing a thing or whatever. And yeah, this just feels like a really natural extension of that.
I really like photography, so I really like taking photos of other people rather than myself.
Yes.
Like it's really fun to be able to like capture something you see in your eyes behind a lens. And I was just like thinking about this. I feel like I saw this somewhere. I don't know if it's an actual quote or not, but it's like the world's greatest photographer will never have like the best photo taken of them because, you know, they can't take a photo of themselves in that way.
That's
so
interesting.
I just thought that was yes.
I think we've covered a lot of ground. If there's anything like in closing that you want to put into the universe,
just like spread love.
What's a small step someone could take if you were to give some advice that they're stuck in this place of like, I don't know how do I do that? How do I spread love? What's something that you do in your day to day?
So one really hard thing is like forgiveness, and so hard to forgive someone, right? But like if you just like let it go, and I know that sounds so dumb, but like it's not that you can't forgive them, it's just that you don't want to forgive them. So if you just really work on just like giving yourself that peace. And it's not necessarily that you have to have that person back in your life, but like you don't have to torture yourself every single day thinking about
Yes.
it and like thinking about how they did you wrong. Like obviously what they did was messed up or how whatever happened, but like if you just let that go, you let that out of you and you just keep on doing you, you know, you just let the positive energy in, that'll just really help people find peace and happiness.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think of it as like you're devoting so much headspace and attention to like thinking about the pain they've caused you and like unwilling to move past it. That's you're just hurting yourself. You're taking away from you and your life and
Right.
what you can do.
And, you know, the past can repeat itself and you can do the same things that like to other people that caused you harm as a child or
Hmm.
like in the past. So if you just really choose to better yourself as a person, you'll see your life around you getting better. You know, it's like if you want to instantly improve your life without like 100% guaranteed, if you're just kinder, that'll instantly like make things better for you. Like it's an easy, simple, free thing that you can do to have positive things come back your way. But
Yes.
if you keep on being angry, you can't expect good things to happen.
Damn. That's
Right.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. I want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to talk to me and chill and be a cool human.
Yes, thank you so much. And oh my gosh, yes, this is so cool.
Cool. Katie, I wish you a lovely rest of the day, a lovely evening, and I hope this corona shit don't last too long so you can get back to ceramics because I feel like that's where you thrive in.
That's facts. Thank you, Brad. And, you know, keep on with your interviews. Thank God you can do them over the phone, you know?
Awesome. Sweet. Thanks
All
again.
right.
I'll talk to you later. Ciao.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Brad, by the way.
I'm Kamilla. Nice to meet you.
Kamilla, for sure. That's a cool name.
Thank you.
Sorry, where are you calling from?
I'm from Florida.
Hell yeah.
Where are you from?
Sick. West Coast Canada.
Oh,
We're sandwiching
okay.
the continent right now.
Yeah.
It seems that you have like a very distinct aesthetic, but also through your feed and through your highlights, it looks like it's always like developing and changing. What's the drive to sort of like switch it up so often?
Wow, you did your research. Oh my god. I just always like changing things. I'm all about change. I hate when things stay stale.
Yeah.
I like consistency,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I think style is something that it's whatever I feel like on the day of, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whatever I feel like wearing, I put on. I don't limit myself on others' judgment either, which is something that I did a lot growing up, is that I wouldn't wear the things that I liked because I was scared of being judged.
Hell yeah. That was actually my next question is like, do you think
Really?
often about how other people see you? But I guess that's something that you've maybe moved forward through.
For sure, yeah. No, I was super self-conscious growing up, but I've learned my worth, my value, and now I want to spread that with other people because it's like the most important thing that you can do for yourself.
It's so
Is to
empowering
learn to
too.
love yourself.
Yeah.
For sure.
Was there a
For sure.
definitive like moment or like a person that or any experience that sort of pushed you over that edge, or was it a gradual?
Well, so basically, I had like a very bad upbringing, very painful, traumatic, and I was stuck in that trauma for a long time. I was reenacting the trauma in my relationships with other people, basically toxic all around. And then after my first serious relationship I had for about 8 months, I met this girl online, and her and I started bonding more and more, and we actually shared a lot of similar traumas. And so it was really hard for both of us. Like we were going through really painful times, but we had each other's shoulders to cry on.
Yeah.
And she was the first person to ever tell me that I'm allowed to love myself. Because
Damn.
I thought that just meant you were conceited.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like that's what I thought loving yourself was. That you're all about yourself and you don't care about other people, because that's how I was brought up. You know, to always put other people's needs before mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was the first person to show me self-love, and she's my soulmate. Like I consider her my soulmate at this point. We've been friends for a few years now.
That's incredible.
And we talk all the time. Yeah. I love her, man. I love her. She brought that love into my life that I needed. And ever since then I've just been growing and developing, and Now I'm at this point where I look in the mirror and I love everything I see. There's nothing that I look at and I'm like, oh my God, that's disgusting.
Right.
I used to hate everything. And now I love myself as I am. You know, I don't need to change for anybody. Man, I love talking about this too. I love talking about it.
That's awesome. I think we often also hear about like you need to learn to love yourself before you love others, but I think a big part also of loving yourself is like you were saying, loving the bad with the good. And then that reflects so much in relationships, like loving all of a person, not just their highlights.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I completely agree with you because nobody's all good.
Yeah.
Everything on earth is about duality and balance. And so are we. And if you're out of balance, you're going to feel it. If you're only focusing on the positive things, you're neglecting the negative things. If you're only focusing on the negative, you're neglecting the positive. So when you learn to balance both out and realize that it's okay to feel shitty and it's okay to feel amazing, it's okay to feel whatever you feel in the moment, you will learn to be content in the present, which is really important.
That's so sick. Yeah. Even now, just listening to you and the words you're using and the sort of ideas you're playing with, I also noticed one of your highlights is sort of dedicated to really just strong, empowering words. That's super cool off the bat, but also...
Thank you.
That feels like, yeah, that feels like, was that something at some point you just got super interested in, or what started that?
Well, I've always been interested in psychology and the way that the human mind operates, and I've been in and out of the mental health field, you know, and not in the sense that I'm working in it, in the sense that I've been part of it.
You're like quite familiar with the,
Yeah. And a lot of therapists and a lot of psychologists, they focus on more the science of psychology rather than the emotions of it. And I have basically never been validated by a therapist or a psychologist because they just always try to, first of all, so there's something really important. It's called holding space for somebody, which is where you essentially, instead of throwing advice at them, instead of teaching them how to cope, you just listen. Listening is so much more powerful for somebody going through a tough time. Like, as long as you're there, a shoulder to cry on, that's going to help them 10 times more than if you're just throwing advice at the person.
Exactly.
Because sometimes they don't need it. You know what I mean? And sometimes all they want is someone to care. That's it. There are limits at the same time, though. Like, for me, I was totally codependent growing up. Like, anybody could basically take advantage of me and I'd be like, thank you. You know, it was just, I didn't care. I just wanted to help people, no matter if I was self-sacrificing. Now I've learned to balance that out, that I'm not going to give more energy than I have, you know, and that I'm not always going to be there for people if I'm not there for myself.
It's so super important. I've a little bit struggled in relationships as far as similarly, maybe, and all my friends call me out on it for being too much of a giver. And it's weird because you don't want to, I feel like the relationship works best when you like are not expecting anything, when it's like an open giving. But if there's nothing coming back, like then you're sort of stuck in this weird limbo. I'm so used to convincing myself like, this is fine though, because making them happy makes me happy. And if they're happy, it's all good. But that's not how it works.
Sweetheart. I've
my
been
downfall.
in the same position.
Yeah, it's not. How do you get out of that? What did you sort of realize to be like, actually, no?
It was exactly that. I just realized my worth, and I realized that I'm deserving of the same love back. You know, I like to think of this example. So, let's say we take 2 cups of water, right?
Yeah.
One is empty. That's going to be like the narcissist in the relationship, the one that takes. The other one is like half full. That's the codependent, right? That codependent pours all of the water into the other cup and leaves nothing for themselves. But the thing is, you see, sometimes people victimize themselves in that kind of a situation. But in reality, I feel like both parties are victims in their own way. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just like a really mismatched puzzle piece.
Exactly. And so they're both taking advantage of each other in a sense. But they both need each other to learn and to grow. Unfortunately, narcissists, it's a lot harder for them to grow out of that pattern compared to codependent people. Yeah. That's my thought right there.
That's a really good thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any closing sort of thoughts or ideas or anything you want to put into the universe?
That's a really loaded.
To put you on the little
one.
podium there for a second. No pressure. No pressure.
Learn to love yourself. You are important. You are worthy. This is towards you and everybody else that will come across. Accept your flaws and oh my god, dude, I can't. When I'm put under pressure.
Okay, wait. Here, let me help. If you could give one piece of advice to someone to make it an act, like one small thing they could do to start to make that change, what would you recommend?
Cut out whatever is not serving you and put yourself first.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That's easy.
It right there.
Easy to remember, and damn.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Baby, please don't leave. My place ain't the same without you. Baby, please don't leave. My place ain't the same without you. Without you. Without you.
You're currently listening to the song Roses by singer-songwriter Ross, who operates under the persona Japanic. Ross? Is it Ross?
Yeah, Ross.
Okay, cool. I'm Brad. Nice to meet you.
Brad. Nice to meet you, man. Good. How you feeling? You alright?
I'm doing good. Yeah, today's a busy day. Where are you calling from?
Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
That's sick as hell. So I was checking out your profile. Music seems to be like a huge part of your life, for sure.
Definitely. It's pretty much all I do, if I'm honest.
Yeah?
Definitely. I think everyone likes music, so it's easy for me to get along with most people.
True. Yeah, it's a good entry point. Hey, you like music? I like music. Perfect. How long have you been messing around and like making beats and stuff?
I've been playing music for probably about 14 years. I picked up a guitar when I was like 7, so it's always been something that I've done. Most recently, like been doing beats and making my own stuff. Probably about 2 years.
Yeah,
it's great. It's so creative to just. I'm so happy to have like something creative to just do whenever I've got the kind of juice flowing, you know what I mean? But before it was more, I could just play other people's songs, but now I can make my own. That's
hella sick once you get to that point of like, now it's your thing.
Exactly. How about you? Do you play anything or?
I was, I dabbled with the guitar for probably a couple of years. I played the bass clarinet for like 7 years in high school, but
yeah, that's a pretty good instrument though.
It's a funky one, and I think definitely having even the smallest amount of formal music education can really help you out in just listening to music, you know?
100%. Yeah, no, it's something that a lot of people take for granted. Like you should, at some point in your life, if you do like music, you should learn a bit, because then you can appreciate it more.
Mm-hmm. I've also noticed you're pretty consistent on your uploads and your creations and stuff. What pushes you to keep going? Because sometimes, at least on my end, I feel like I have my nose to the grindstone for what seems like forever and nothing's really happening. What keeps it going for you?
Trial and error. Like before, I was in the same place that you're kind of saying you are. Like I had a long kind of period of time where I was just going and going and going, and nothing was happening at all, and my music just wasn't sitting right with me, and I didn't want to put out just anything. So I just kind of took a break, and then I think that did, me a world of good. And now I've built up a lot of things, so I've got a lot of things to put out, and like a lot of people kind of motivate me to keep going. Like I get a lot of like really nice messages and some really kind people like kind of making me aware that what I'm doing is important to them. So it's not a waste of time,
It has a value outside of I feel like
outside of my bedroom.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like I was making videos for years, and like of course my friends and family are supportive and they appreciate what I'm doing. But when it comes from someone who doesn't have that connection to you, it like
it changes it.
I'm not saying it didn't have value before, but now it's like confirmation of, oh, this is a thing that people like.
Yeah, exactly. It changes your mindset a lot more than you would think it would.
Totally. I've been thinking a lot about first impressions, because those can be hard as a creative. What's something you wish people knew about you on a deeper level that it's hard to get through on a sort of surface level?
I'm very appreciative of every single ounce of support anyone gives me. And I don't think a lot of people understand how deep rooted that is in some people. Like, they do really care about people's support. Some artists and some creatives can handle being told that they're great or whatever a lot easier.
Right.
But when it comes to me, like, if anyone gives me compliments, like that really hits deep for me.
It resonates.
And it's, yeah, definitely. It makes me feel a bit more like I'm worth something. I'd say that that's something that people don't really think about.
For sure. That's awesome. Do you come from a musical family?
Nah. My parents like listening to music.
Right.
And when I grew up, my parents were split up. And whenever I'd hang out with my dad, he'd be listening to like Queen a lot and like Led Zeppelin and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of like my first. Like, I'm glad that I had that. You know, a lot of people just grow up listening to the popular, the things that are in the radio and just what's going around right now. Yeah. It doesn't kind of have the same vibe to it where you're kind of going out of your way to listen to something.
I was that's so. I feel like most people are hitting that top 40 and that's sort of it for them. But if they just put in the tiniest amount of effort to explore their taste, they'd find something
to them so much.
Yeah, they'd love so much more. You know, that's just life.
Yeah, no, you can't always push people to do things that that would benefit you, you know.
So what does the day-to-day look like for Ross? What's your schedule at?
I mean, right now I don't think anyone has a schedule.
That is
before all this quarantine stuff, it was pretty much, like I would either be working on something or I'd be speaking to people about what I could do in the future. So like collaborating with other artists or speaking to potential partners and that sort of thing. But now it's more, I think everyone's stuck at home and they don't really want to think about work or anything. So it's a lot more slow. And I think I've got a lot more time now to just sit back and do whatever I want, make as much music that I like, as opposed to what other people want me to make, like collaborations or anything. I can just do what I want.
That's awesome that you get time to yourself in that way and in that creative space. Because, that feeling of you're collaborating with someone, but it's not quite your vision, but it's something you got to do. You're an artist and it's part of the gig. Exactly, yeah. And sometimes, a collaboration that you aren't vibing with so much can end up turning out to be one of your favorites. True. Yeah, it can be sometimes hard to see when you're in the process. Mm-hmm. And then after the fact, it's like, that was worth the time. Yeah. You have a big family. Tell me about that. Yeah. I don't even know where to start. It's just pretty big, like I'm the oldest of like my siblings, and there's 4 other siblings. Yep. So there's quite a lot of us in the house. As the oldest, did you feel like you had some responsibility in a bigger family to watch after the younger kids? When you're like 2 or 3 years old, and then all of a sudden you're being called, the big brother, or oh, you're getting so big, all these things. It does kind of change your kind of mindset and who you are at a young age. If you're a single child, you're not really going to be called like big, or you're not going to be looking after people at such a young age, Totally. So it does change you a lot. I think it's all like deeply ingrained in you, though. I don't think it actually changes your like surface like personality. The way that you process things does change because of that. And I do appreciate having like loads of little brothers and sisters, because it's made me more like empathetic and I care more about other people than I'd say most people that don't have younger siblings would. More conscientious and more aware of what's happening around you. Yeah, because you need to be, like they have lives of their own, and you don't want that to be ruined by a mistake that you've made before or something like that. You can easily tell them, don't do that. Exactly. I have definitely learned quite a bit from my older brother. Yeah. And you don't even like your younger siblings. Sometimes they don't tell you like that you've helped them or whatever, but that you have. It's one of those things. It's good. It's nice. Like, you don't need to be appreciated like out loud. It's just all like love, Do you feel that like maybe because that appreciation wasn't really necessary for you maybe growing up, that now it hits harder with support from like a bunch of people and the people you're working with? Like, Yeah, definitely. Like, when you're growing up and stuff, it's like you don't ask for thanks or whatever in those kind of situations. But like now it's like I'm doing things that I think that I should be thanked for every now and then. And it feels nice when I am, but I don't expect it, like I don't
put out songs and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, give me
Give
give me all your love now.
validation,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's nice when I get it, but
Yeah.
I'd say that's linked to that probably.
Interesting. That's cool. Any closing thoughts?
Well, it's been really nice speaking to you. I've not really spoken about these kind of things in one sitting before. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. Special thanks to our guests Jenny, Katie, Kamilla, and Ross for making this episode possible. Music provided by Japanic, that's Japanic, and Loboil, that's Loboil, who can both be found on all major streaming platforms. You can follow Blond Radio at blond.radio on Instagram and TikTok. This closing track is called Valleys, and it's the newest single from Loboil, and it features samples from interviews on Blond Radio. See you soon, and thanks for tuning in to Blond Radio. I have weird Twitter friends that I've never met in real life, but we Skype, play games together and stuff.
I've been sticking with the friends that I've met in person, but I've always thought it'd be kind of cool to find a friend online and be their BFF.
If you were to find an online friend, what sort of qualities